Good evening, Fernwood. It is your yielding Yippee Neil, and it's time for us to get your yah-yahs out with another episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. We are watching episode 307 from June 7th, 1977. That's a lot of sevens, so let's recap yesterday. Charlie and Loretta Haggers returned home after releasing their wild child boy Johnny Doe back into the forest to meet up with Bigfoot. Loretta is feeling mournful for the son she almost had, and Charlie assures her that the best plan was for him to go out into the forest so he could be happy. Loretta agrees that it was the right thing to do, but she still feels pain, and Charlie takes this as an opportunity to reintroduce Loretta to her track of superstardom. She resists at first, but then she strums a chord, and the music just pours out of her. Nearby at the Shumway home, George and Martha are freezing and starving because the bills have not been paid. Kathy comes home with the idea of becoming a caterer, though Martha points out that she has no cooking skill. Then Martha gets a premonition that someone in the room is going to meet the fate of a mysterious doom. We quickly cut over to Mary Hartman, who appears to be sleeping and receives a visit from either a real or a dreamlike Dennis Foley. Dennis admires the sleeping and dreaming Mary Hartman and sows the seeds that Mary and Tom are very different people. Then Merle and Wanda enjoy some quiet time while Adeline and Mickey Mo are off fishing. And Merle is really glad to have some space from his family at the moment, and really is looking forward to a time that they will not be involved in his life. Buzz and Amanda show up bearing gifts. The Republicans are excited about the co-candidacy plans of the Jeters that Merle and Wanda will be running together, and start to come up with some strategies and slogans. Merle suggests a slogan that Amanda thinks maybe could be improved upon, and then Wanda blurts one out that Buzz and Amanda both really like, much to Merle's chagrin. Buzz then tells the Jeters that they want Adeline and Mickey Mo to be big parts of the coming campaign, and Merle seems a bit perturbed by this. The representatives leave, and Merle has to grit his teeth as Wanda asks him what's going on, and Merle is unhappy to share the focus with Wanda and to have to spend more time with his distrusting mother Adeline and his hated brother Mickey Mo, after which Buzz and Amanda pop their heads in because they appreciate the yelling since it's earthy. Then later at the Capri Lounge, Mary orders a glass of milk and meets Wanda Jeter to ask for her advice. Mary wants to know if Wanda thinks that she should sleep with Dennis Foley, and Wanda's response is, "Do you want to?" She also thinks that maybe Dennis isn't coming on to Mary as strongly as Mary suggests, but then Mary has an opportunity to disprove this as Dennis Foley walks in and sidles up to the bar. Mary sits next to Dennis, at which point Dennis tells Mary that it's time for them to talk. He wants to have a full relationship with her, and he's setting up a time for them to meet. Then Mary tells Wanda that Dennis wants a full relationship, to which Wanda responds, "Well, then he probably wants to sleep with you," and the episode ends with Mary still feeling pretty confused about the whole thing. Everyone yesterday seemed to establish some new status quos for some of our characters. Pretty much everyone is starting some path right now, so I suppose it's time for us to proceed.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Poor George. He sunk about everything he had into that invention. Plus some he didn't have.
Yep. He's got his problem, boy.
You might say the same thing for you and me, who lent him the money to do it and we couldn't afford to. Hey, George.
Hello, man.
Hey, you're looking pretty good for a man who's flat broke. Out on the street pounding the pavement looking for a job.
Yeah, I thought I'd come back and talk to Mr. Billingsley and see if I can get the old job back. Now that my life as an inventor is all over.
Yeah, well, your life on the assembly line is over, too, George. I mean, hell, after what you told Billingsley you could do with his job, you told him what? He could go and sit on it, right?
George, did you say that?
No, I just told him that he could put it where the moon don't shine.
And you expect him to rehire you after that?
Well, have you ever heard of an apology? I mean, even a shumway can apologize, especially if my water's cut off, my car's repossessed, and my cupboard is bare.
Sure, yeah, he could do that, sure. Yeah, he probably hired you back, George. Hell, listen, you'll have groceries back on the table in no time at all. Yeah.
Plus, paying off some of them back-breaking debts that you've run up.
Oh. Let me tell you guys something.
What?
I'm paying back 100 cents on every dollar.
I sure hope he makes it.
So does my puny bank account.
Hi, guys.
Hey, what are you doing here? Hi.
Well, I have just started a mobile catering service. I mean, somebody has to make the money in the family, and I'm making all these homemade, fresh, delicious sandwiches.
Well, that's real good, Kat. But listen, we just got done eating.
Oh,
And,
you guys bring your lunches from home, huh?
Yeah.
I guess everybody does that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about some dessert? I have some brownies here.
The brownies, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Great.
How much are they?
35 cents. Is that too much?
No, that's all right. It's fine, huh? Really?
You know, you guys are my first sales today.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
First lunch, huh?
So, try it. Hurry up.
Okay, yeah, let's try it. Give it a try.
So, how do you like them?
It's a very interesting taste for a brownie, Kathy.
So you want the same thing tomorrow, right?
Maybe we could have a little change. Maybe something like
Jello?
Jello.
I have a feeling I'm not going to get rich off of this.
Damn. What a crummy thing to do.
What?
You know what they did? They gave my job to a woman. I mean, that's it. What have I got left? I've lost my house. I'm losing my cars, my future. I got nothing left, and don't tell me I still got my dignity.
Aw, Daddy, don't worry about it. You almost hit it rich with a bug gun, and you can do it again.
Yeah, George. Hey, look, you'll be back. Everything will be back right in your feet in no time, though. Don't worry.
Yeah, George, and you don't have to worry about them debts. I mean, we can wait, I don't know, weeks.
So why don't you have a sandwich, Daddy? It'll make you feel better.
Ah, that's my sweet princess.
Mwah.
I can always count on you, honey. What do you got in here?
Ooh, all sorts of good stuff.
Well, this looks pretty good.
That'll be $1.75.
$1.75. Is my own flesh and blood charging me $1.75 when I'm starving?
Well, Daddy, we gotta make money. I can't start giving out handouts.
That's it. That's the pits. I'm gonna go out and buy a 20-story building and jump off of it.
You don't want to really do it, do you?
No.
Besides, you couldn't get the loan for the mortgage.
That's true.
Give me another drink.
Hey, don't you think you've had enough?
I'm gonna tell you something, pal. Big Al, I'm gonna tell you the truth now. I can't even afford the next drink that you're gonna give me.
Well, I tell you, I think you're plastered, and I'm not gonna give you another drink.
Give me another drink.
Hey, knock it off, George. You want to pick on somebody your own size.
Let me tell you something, you big, voluptuous Valentino. I've been waiting around to break your bones for a long time.
Is that right? Here's something I've been wanting to impress on your mind, too, old buddy.
Yeah? What's that?
This.
That's food for thought. You know something? In life, a lot of things appear to be what they aren't.
Is that so?
Yeah. For example, now, this is a bar stool, right?
That's right.
Wrong. Now it's firewood.
Trying to get violent with me?
You're damn tootin' I am.
Mary Hartman? Mary Hartman?
That's amazing.
What?
You could so easily pass for Dr. Joyce Brothers' sister.
Well, I am Joyce Brothers.
No. Yes, no. Yes. Well, no wonder you look so much like her. Do you always return all your mail personally?
Well, can I come in?
Oh, of course, please. Yes, certainly. Come right in. Stop. It's just that I waxed my floor, and I just don't want you to step on the wet wax part yet. So could you just, come this way? Would that be okay? It's just that I personally don't like to wax my floor in a straight line. Between you and I, confidentially, I just find waxing the floors, a very boring thing. So I just like to break it up. I think it's an important thing to do, but I think it's a very, very, boring thing to do. So what I like to do is I like to spread out the wax in a certain kind of way, and I find that it breaks it up for me, and it makes it much more interesting. You know what I mean? So do you think that's the right way, or do you think that's a bad thing?
Well, it depends on whether you think that's the most important thing of all.
Well, you're the psychologist. I mean, or do you only practice on television?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, well, it's just that I've seen you on television, talking to so many celebrities and everything. I don't know if you work with the little people anymore. The little people do have their problem. I just can't get over this. I mean, you look so much like Judy Garland.
Well, I got your telegram,
Did you? Do you know that I sent telegrams to Masters and Johnson's, Dr. David Rubin, Alex Comfort, Chair Height? I better stack up on coffee, huh?
Well, I found your telegram very urgent and very interesting. I was lecturing in the neighborhood, and I thought I'd make a little detour. And, I'm not really as show business as you think. I find the little people very intriguing, in a peculiar sort of way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So what do you think? Should I do it?
You mean, should you have an affair with the man that you already had an affair with in the hospital bed right after he had a heart attack?
You mean they actually did get all that into the telegram? Well, let me put it to you this way. I do have a marriage which, on a scale from 1 to 10, is a solid 4. With actually very little sex, however. Coffee?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, I guess, what's concerning me is, am I doing the right thing here?
Well, if you mean morally right, there's nothing basically immoral at all about sex.
So I should do it?
Well, that depends.
On what?
Well, on whom you consult. For example, Dr. Robbins and Dr. Jensen believe that there is a great deal of harm and emotional trouble that come from repressed sexual urges, and yet David Rubin feels that there's difficulty from unbridled sexual passion.
So I shouldn't do it?
Well, there are people in the field who think that if you let an opportunity go by, you'll regret it the rest of your life. If you say no to him, you'll feel regrets.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want that. Would I?
Well, on the other hand, you did say that the man you're interested in is a policeman.
Well, a sergeant, actually, a sergeant.
Did it ever occur to you that you may merely be responding to his uniform and his badge?
No, but I have thought a lot lately about asking him, if he'd let me wear his belt and his gun for just the afternoon. You know what I mean? I'm just around the house.
Well, there are some women who get turned on by symbols of authority.
Could I ask you a personal question?
Sure, why not?
Have you answered my question?
What question?
Well, see, that's the point. I really don't know anymore.
Well, a good, healthy relationship is very important.
So I should sleep with him?
Well, on the other hand, you know, I can show you any number of people who, because of their depression, because they've repressed their sexual urges, have been institutionalized. But I can actually show you some people who are institutionalized because they've acted on that repression. There must be lots of them. I guess lots.
Oh. Well.
No,
More
Mrs.
coffee?
Hartman.
Do you want some more coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Mrs. Hartman.
Oh, could you just wait a minute, please?
Now?
Yeah.
Mrs. Hartman, it will do you no good if I tell you yes or no, because that will not help you to ultimately make the decision of what's right and what's wrong for you.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
It does?
Oh, yes, that really does.
Well, in that case, I wish you very good luck. And please tell me how it works out, won't you?
Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, it's so wonderful meeting you. Tell me something. Did I seem a little slow to you?
Not at all. You have problems. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. Oh,
Thank you.
Here, please take your coffee with you.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, and listen, when you've finished with the cup, just drop it in the nearest mailbox. Bye. So Dr. Joyce Brothers thinks I should have an affair with Dennis Foley. Wonder when I'll get that cup back. Yeah, with whom am I speaking?
Hello, Mary.
Oh, hello, Dennis.
So I have Thursday off.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's the day we should get together.
You mean both of us, you and me?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Both of us. Alone.
So you think that we both should be there, huh?
Yes, Mary. Come on now, give me a definite answer.
All right. Maybe.
Mary.
All right. All right. I will meet you on Thursday on one condition, okay?
What?
That I pick the place.
All right. And I promise you, Mary, it will be the most important day of your life.
Oh, God. I hope not.
George! George! You all right, George? George! Speak to me, boy.
Who the hell hit me?
I did, George.
By God, you're one hell of a fighter.
George, we don't need no victories between us.
Are you kidding? I wanted to see you dragged out of here on a stretcher. If they could have found one big enough for you, which I doubt.
What do you mean? Ain't you noticed all the weight that I lost here? And it's all your fault, too.
Huh?
Well, I mean, with all this anger in me, I just can't even enjoy food.
Oh, I know what you mean, pal. How about enjoying food if you can't afford it?
Yeah, I heard about your predicament there, George. Tell you what, why don't you let me buy you a beer?
I couldn't have said it better myself.
All right.
Help me up a little bit. Tell you one thing, pal. I'm going to be sitting easy for the next couple of weeks.
2 beers.
You know, I think you guys are better than the wrestlers on the TV I do.
Well, them guys, heck, that's just a bunch of phony stuff there, you know. I mean, if a real wrestler got in there, he'd just pulverize a guy like that.
And make a pile of money, too. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, there's many a time I've been looking up there on the TV there, you know, and I said, boy, I'd just like to climb in that ring and rip one of them boys' arms off.
But you know, I think you're going to need a manager first.
Oh. Mac, I think we got something going here.
You know, all this stuff that gets in the way in this house, you know, it gets in the way of doing stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. Don't answer.
Maybe it's important, huh?
No, so is this. It's more important.
Look, I can't concentrate.
No,
Not when the phone
I
keeps
know,
ringing like
okay.
that. So, why don't we just wait until it stops? Huh?
Okay. Maybe I better answer him.
Just remember where we were, okay?
Okay, I don't know why I always keep track of anything. Hello?
Hello, Mary.
Oh, hi, Wanda.
I take it you're not alone.
All right. So, what's new, Wanda?
Oh, I've been thinking about you, Mary. About us?
Really, Wanda?
I've been thinking about us spending time alone on Thursday. Like you promised. I'm hoping you won't break your promise.
No, of course not, Wanda.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Very much.
Good. All right, Wanda. Well, it was really nice talking to you, Wanda. Bye, Wanda. Oh, that Wanda.
Who was that?
Wanda.
What'd she want?
Who?
Wanda.
Oh, she just wanted to make sure that we would not forget to vote for her and Merle.
Well, I mean, she called up at what, 11 o'clock at night to make sure we'd vote for them in 1980?
I guess the campaign's in trouble.
Yeah, wait, where were we?
No, wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute.
What? Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Right, more like this, right? Right?
Listen.
Ah. So we begin this episode with Charlie and Tom lamenting the loans that they've made to George. And then George comes in trying to get a new job, or trying to get his old job back, but he still has to talk to Mr. Billingsley. Charlie and Tom both relieve George of a little bit of the strain of having to pay back their loan. And as George goes up to talk to Mr. Billingsley, Kathy comes in with her bassinet full of food. It's not a food truck, it's a food cradle. Of course, the boys don't need a sandwich. They take brownies, and the brownies are interesting flavor for a brownie. We already know that Kathy doesn't have any cooking skill. I'm not sure why she didn't engage Martha in doing any of the cooking, but in any case, it doesn't seem to Kathy that this plan is going to work out. And then we find out that George doesn't have a job at the factory anymore, so he's pretty desperate. And then we next see George at the Capri having drunk more than his fill. Apparently he can't even pay the bill for the drinks he's already ordered when Big Al says, "Sorry, we gotta cut you off." Then Mac comes in and he's got a hankering for some anger, and that escalates because both men have anger toward the other. And as that fight starts, then we cut over to Mary Hartman, who's mopping the floor, much like episode 1 of the entire series, but she gets a visit from Dr. Joyce Brothers. And if you don't recognize that name, she was the sort of advice columnist, psychologist of the 1970s. She was very prevalent on television, as described in the show. And here what we see is Mary asking for someone's approval in her plan to sleep with Dennis. I think that she is asking, yesterday she asked Wanda what she thought, and now she's talking to a syndicated advice columnist about what she thinks. Dr. Brothers doesn't give a straightforward answer of yes or no. Really, it's all about, the advice that Dr. Joyce gives is, what do you want? Which is the same question that Wanda asked. And it doesn't factor in things like, is your relationship to Tom important? I know that here Mary suggests that on a scale of 10, they've got a solid 4 relationship. But, just because it isn't good doesn't mean it's not important. I guess at this point, the relationship to Tom is not important to Mary, because that's where she is, and she keeps thinking about sleeping with Tom. And even after Dr. Joyce refers to various other celebrity doctors and says that there's no one answer to this, and that the only answer will come from Mary, after Dr. Brothers leaves, Mary says that what she heard from the doctor is that she should sleep with Dennis. Clearly, Mary is hearing what she wants to hear in this case, because that's not what I heard. So she calls up Dennis, and they reaffirm that there's a meeting that they will have on Thursday. I wonder if that means 2 days from now in TV time. Probably, because that's how it often worked on this show. Not every time, but a lot of the time, if they said Thursday was going to be a meeting, it was going to happen on Thursday. And then we slam back to the fight between George and Mac. And at the start of it, when they cut back to it, George was in a headlock. Mac had him in a headlock and spun him around, and I thought immediately wrestling, because, I don't know if you can tell that I watch wrestling, but that's what I immediately thought. Then George and Mac kind of give up on this aggression between each other. George hits the floor and Mac feels bad almost. Like they forgive each other in a way, not exactly, but they're ready to not be fighting anymore. And then Big Al points out that George and Mac are really better than what he sees on television. I'm not sure what wrestling would have been available in 1977 in Fernwood, Ohio, but it looks like we're going to have a wrestling plot, and that tickles the heck out of me. I really can't wait to see. I would not have expected it on this series, but here we are. It looks like we're going to have a wrestling plot, and, kayfabe be damned. And if you're unfamiliar with the phrase kayfabe, as I imagine some of you are, I'm going to leave an explanation up here. But what happens next is that we cut right over to Mary and Tom having their own little tussle in bed. But that is interrupted by a phone call. It gets awkward at this point between Mary and Tom. They seem to be having some fun, but that ring of the phone is very distracting. And it turns out to be Dennis Foley, who is all too happy to disrupt Mary and Tom's life. I know that we have varying opinions of this. It's clear to me at this point that Mary really does want to sleep with him, though she couches it in other people's approval of the idea. And again, Dennis affirms that there's a meeting that they're going to have on Thursday. Mary covers it up by saying that it's Wanda on the phone and that Wanda was calling about the 1980 election, 3 years away. Tom maybe is skeptical of that, and then they start to come back to their makeout, but it is much more awkward than when they started. And it is clear that the wedge being driven between them is pushing them farther and farther apart. So everyone, that's a lot about this episode. Feeling some feelings. I had some highs and some lows this time. But it's time now for us to address the question of the week, which I asked last month. The question this time is, who were your favorite sympathetic side characters? And we have a response from Diane Henkel. I love Grandpa Larkin. He is such a sweetheart. I love when Mary asks him where his pants are at the police station. He said they were being cleaned, calls Dennis Foley a stormtrooper, then flashes the cleaning lady as they are leaving the police station. That's all from the second episode of the series, which I don't have full video of, but I will link the first episode up here from rerun season. You can find episode 2 to watch if you just Google it. In any case, Diane continues. He reminds me so much of my grandfather whom I adored. Even when he started having memory issues, he would say the most insightful comments from time to time. He wasn't a flasher, though. I really miss him. Grandpa Larkin is such an interesting character because most of the time he is comedic fodder, right? He always comes in with his catchphrase of where's the peanut butter, at least he did early on. And then he sort of vacillated between being really the comedic relief of the show and being the person who could listen and give back exactly what you needed. And it was sometimes hard to tell because sometimes we would get those scenes between Mary and Grandpa Larkin where he would really touch on what she needed at that moment. And there were other times with them together where Grandpa Larkin really seemed like he barely knew what was going on. So that was really hard. But hey, he is a favorite character, at least of Diane Henkel's. So thank you so much, Diane, for sharing your thoughts about Grandpa Larkin and your own grandfather. Thank you everyone here for watching. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for getting your yayas out, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.